Hey yo, what's up everyone? It's me, Anthony AKA IceyLalo, and I am back. And I think I have maybe about 4 or 5 more videos that I plan on doing before February is which when I first started my YouTube channel. So it'll be a whole year that I did this. And yeah, so I want to say thank you for everyone that's been watching all my videos, subscribing, liking, commenting, telling me their feedback, letting me know. You know, there was one guy just recently, or not recently, but when I posted my last video of the attempted suicide, he told me, he's like, I don't even know who he was. He just randomly went on my Instagram and said, "Hey man," I was like that. He said that video is very touching, very important. I feel like people should pay attention. People should watch your video. So that just getting some feedback like that is what I'm here to do. You know what I mean? Like that's this channel is made for me, but second, it's made for anyone that's going through whatever. You know, this is my story, and if you can relate to it, great. If it's something that maybe you could learn from, great. If it's just something because you want to watch because you're bored, then that's great too. I mean, like I said, the priority for the channel is for me. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for everyone that's been watching my videos, paying attention. This video is going to be about karma, which is something that's actually tatted on my arm. I don't know if you could see it that good. It's blurry. Focus. Okay, I don't know how to do that focus thing on my phone, but I will post a picture of it on my Instagram. So, oh yeah, I'll let you guys know my social media at the end of the video. And most of this video is actually going to be about, so the video is called Karma / my anchor, because first it's about karma. For me, karma is what I've learned from Buddhism. It wasn't just a word, karma, and I got it from whatever someone said. It's actually something I studied and I got into. So I'll let you know why karma is so significant to me and why I live that every day of my life and why I have it tatted on my arm for the rest of my life. You know, the second part of my video is called my anchor, because I want to let people know why I have this tattoo, and that's the anchor on my fist right there. I also have an anchor ring, an anchor bracelet, and I'm just anchored out right now. But no, if anybody has watched I think it was my second video, realizing that I'm gay, or probably my third video, there was a guy who was in my middle school named Gabe I met, who became a friend of mine for over 10 years, and he was very important to me, and he became what I called my anchor, and I'll explain that later on in the video. So let's start with the karma. Dang, I haven't recorded a video in a minute, so I'm kind of looking at the screen again. Gotta keep my eyes on the lens. Alright, so karma. So yeah, my last video that I recorded was the attempted suicide video, because I was an alcoholic, and I was you know, I ended up in the hospital for alcohol poisoning. I almost killed myself. And you know, I said my dad was the one that helped me get through that process to get me, you know, to stop drinking. He did take me to like AA meetings, or actually I was actually seeing an AA counselor that helped me get through that. My dad helped me a lot. Gabe also helped me a lot. But one thing that definitely pulled me out of that was Buddhism. And I honestly don't know how that started. It was a lot of it had to do with my best friend, Angel, at the time, because she was always into like positivity and meditation, and she was like, it comes from Buddhism. Like, well, I know that's a religion, but what is it that they study? What is it? So I started checking out books at the library about Buddhist and Buddhism and what it means, and one thing that really stood out to me was the word karma. Because we hear it all the time, and it sucks because we hear it in a negative way. We think of karma like, oh, what is that saying? Karma's a bitch, and honestly, it really doesn't have to be. Karma doesn't have to be a bitch if you don't want it to be. It can also be an amazing, great, positive thing. I believe that whatever you put out into the universe, whether it be good or bad, it'll come back to you in some way or another, and maybe not in the next few days, maybe in the next few years, but it'll eventually come back to you. Whatever you put out, any type of that energy, it'll come back to you. And I believe that with all of my heart and soul, and obviously that's why I have it tatted on my arm. I wish I could show you on here. Oh look, you can kind of see it right there. I'm actually going to get it retouched because it's not really all fancy. But Hope this video is coming out clear, because my eyes is like blurry right now. It's probably because I'm staring at this light. But yeah, that definitely helped me out of my depression, because obviously that's why I became an alcoholic. I was depressed. I started drinking, thinking that was going to be my remedy. It wasn't. And, you know, Buddhism helped me out. I studied it. I learned about meditation. I didn't know what that was, you know, and that really made a big difference in everything. You know, practice taking deep breaths, like right now. I actually did a couple of deep breaths before I did this video, so I'm not so nervous, because believe me or not, I am still a little bit nervous. But yeah, I learned about Buddhism is really about learning about your inner self, and learning to have inner peace within whatever environment you're in. If it's a stressful, negative environment, there's a way where you can you know, feel that inner peace, and it's something that you have to build within. It's kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but meditation helps you relax. It helps you think clearly. It's kind of like, you know how some people say marijuana helps them, or exercising helps them clear their mind, or whatever it is. For me, Buddhism meditation always helped me through stressful times. You know, I always felt like it helped me clear my mind, like, okay, I'm breathing, I'm all right. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely, hold on, pause. All right, I think it's recording. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I had to pause it. I felt like I had to sneeze. All right, so yeah, yeah, I'm lucky to have found that outlet to get me out of that depression, to help me with getting over alcoholism. I'm not saying I don't consider myself a Buddhist. I don't consider myself. I was actually baptized Catholic, but we never really. Our family was never really. I mean, we did go to church and stuff before a lot, and over the years we kind of realized that for me, if anyone's watching this and they're really religious, I'm not. This is the thing, I don't like talking about politics or religion, but this is my story, and this is what I believe, this is what I feel. Over the years, I felt like I've realized that the churches, to me, they became very contrived, like very, it seemed to be a business all of a sudden. It was like people felt like they had to go there to show this persona to other people, like, oh, I'm this good person because I go to church, you know, and it's like, and I realized that you can pray and you can learn about God on your own. You don't necessarily have to go to church. Yes, going to a church is nice. I still enjoy going to a church every once in a while. But I feel like it's not a necessity in order to feel like you belong to God, or you're this Christian, you know, this good, perfect angel. You know, it's not like that at all. We're human beings, and I feel like no matter what type of religion you believe in, as long as it's something that's going to make you a better person, I feel like it doesn't matter who you believe in or what you believe in, or if you don't believe in anything, if you just believe in yourself, that's all, you know, to me, that's all that matters. But yeah, so I don't consider myself a Buddhist because I study Buddhism. I just feel like I am very attracted to a lot of their ways, of their ways of thinking about the world and about themselves and about the energy around them. You know, for me, it's just, it's very interesting. And that's why, you know, I still light up incense, and I do have a Buddha shrine in my closet. And yeah, I think it's a very powerful, peaceful type of thing to get into, you know. And I'm not suggesting everyone to just go and study. I mean, do whatever makes you happy. But for me, that's definitely what helped me get out of my depression and my alcoholism and stuff. Sorry, I was looking at the minutes because I can't see because I have a white shirt on and the minutes are on the bottom of my phone and they're all white. So I know that's like a short thing of karma, but that's what karma is. So karma is not a bitch. It doesn't have to be. Karma is not a bad thing. Don't look at it as a negative thing. Look at it as a very positive thing. Whatever you put out into the world, good energy, bad energy, it'll come back to you. So that's why I believe in karma and Buddhism so much. So let's get into the second part of this video, which is called my anger. So if you've watched that, if anyone's just recently just subscribed or just heard of my videos, I would suggest you starting from like the first video, which is called Amate, Love Yourself, I think it's called. I don't even know the name of my videos. But yeah, start there and then just kind of work your way to here. Oh, and then I also posted the last video I did was the J-Lo video, because I went to Vegas. I won tickets to see Jennifer Lopez in Vegas. Me and my mom went to go watch her All I Have show. So that was footage that I recorded of the concert. I recorded a lot more. I'm actually going to post another video of it after this video, which would be maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. But it's going to be a vertical video, so you can watch it on your phone, like, vertically. So that's something I'm working on. Hopefully that looks really cool. Thank you for everyone that's watched the other one and liked it and shared and commented and everything. Alright, so let's get to the second part of the video, my anchor. So yeah, like I said, if you've watched my videos in a row, you'll know who Gabe is. I will not say... his name's Gabriel, but I call him Gabe because he wanted me to call him Gabe. But, yeah, it was basically, if I just catch up really quick, so it was some guy in 6th grade, I was 12 years old, I met this guy in my PE class, and I actually didn't know I was gay until I met him. I know that sounds crazy, everyone has different stories, like, were you born gay, did you want to be gay, or how did people become gay, or... For me, it was that. It was like, I felt like I was born gay, but I didn't realize until I met this guy. Because when I met him, when I seen him, I felt different about myself. I didn't know, I was just attracted to him, and he just happened to be a guy, and I was like, okay, this is different, So he changed my life. He made a very big impact, and we actually became good friends. Not at that time. It took about, because it was like, I was 12, which is in 6th grade. In 7th grade, I didn't talk to him. Now I was like 12, 13. So I didn't really talk to him until I was like a freshman in high school, and I was like 14, 15. And we just started talking because I was actually friends with his cousin, which I didn't know that was his cousin. His name was Alex. And yeah, I was cool with Alex, and then later on he was like, oh yeah, I have a cousin named Gabe, and I was like, oh my god, so that's your cousin. I didn't tell him, but in my head I'm like, oh, your cousin's the guy that made me realize I'm gay. But anyways, yeah, and then it wasn't like we became like this instant best friends. It was a weird kind of like, we were emailing each other at school because that's what we had at school, and I just wanted to talk. I wanted to become friends with him like that, and that's why I nicknamed him Dream Boy, because it was like I always felt like it would be a dream to be his friend or anything, I didn't know his sexuality. I mean, I assumed he was straight because he had that persona, and he is straight. And excuse me, yeah, I think I burp when I get nervous, so excuse me. But yeah, so let's see. So we became good friends like around 15, 16 years old in high school, and he ended up moving to another high school, but we kept in contact over like MySpace. We had each other's numbers. We'd always text each other back and forth. He was always there for me. We had this very different friendship. God, I'm trying to think. It's a lot. Like over a 10-year span, so much happened between me and him. It's like we became good friends, but we didn't see each other. We had like a good friendship over the phone, over messages, texting, and all that. And eventually, I became in love with him. I fell in love with him, and it definitely became an obsession as well. I was obsessed with him, and he was always there for me. I mean, there was times when this is when I started drinking a lot too, because I loved him so much that, and realizing I couldn't have him because he was straight. I don't think he felt that way about me, so I would drink and try to numb that pain that I felt, and realizing that he was never going to love me the way I loved him. And he actually didn't know I was gay or that I was in love with him until later on. But yeah, there was times where I would tell him like, look, Gabe, I don't think we should be friends anymore. And he would actually like, he'd be really upset. He'd be sad. He'd be like, wow, I can't believe you're gonna just stop talking to me. Like, and it would hurt me like doing that to him. And there was a lot of off and on in our relationships, and it was mostly me cutting him out because of the way I felt about him, And one day I was like, I need to tell him. I think I was like 18 or 19 when I told him, and it was funny because I came out to him and told him that I loved him in the same night. So I was writing a book actually, and that was what this was going to be. It was going to be my book, my story, and I started that when I was like 17 or 18. and most of the book was going to be about him, you know, because that's how much I loved him and how much I was obsessed with him. And I told him about the book I was writing, and he was just like, "Oh, what's the book about?" And I was like, "Oh, it's about love." And he's like, "Oh," he goes, "I know how you love love. I'm excited to read it. I want to read it." And I was like, "Look, Gabe," I was like, "I don't know if you know, but I'm gay, and I don't know how you feel about that." And he's just like, "I don't feel anything about it. Like, you're my friend, you're my homie. Like, I don't look at you differently. I love you still the same." Like, and he meant love as a friend, as a brother, you know. But for me, I took that completely different, twisted in my head, like, "Oh, he loves me," you know, and but really, he just meant it as a friend. And yeah, and then I told him that the book was gonna be about him, and that's I felt like I was, and part of me was hoping that me telling him that he would realize, like, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore, I don't want to be friends anymore. That way would help me get over him, but it didn't. Instead, he was like, "What? Really? It's about me? And you said it's about love?" And and I was like, "Yeah, it's about me being in love with you." And he's like, "Wow." And it was just really awkward. And he's like, "Man," he goes, "Anthony, I'm sorry, but I don't love you that way. I'm not gay, and I love you as my friend. I hope we could still be friends, and I'd still read the book." And, you know, for him to tell me that just kind of, it just kept me holding on. You know, it was like, there was something about him. I felt like it was more than just an obsession. It was more than love. It was like some type of, for me, it felt like some type of soul connection with him, you know. And yeah, and then he ended up going out to the Navy, which is why I have the anchor. It represents a lot of that. Not only the Navy, he actually wanted me to go with him. And I had talked to a recruiter. I think he got me to talk to one of his recruiters or something. And I almost signed up and everything. I was going to go with him. And I ended up changing my mind last minute. And I felt bad. I feel like, you know, to this day I think about, not that I regret it, but I think about, what if I did go? You know, what would my life have been? But I didn't. And but we still kept in contact when he went to the Navy. You know, he was always like, just checking up on me, and I was always checking up on him, and we became really good friends. And I'm trying to, I mean, we're already good friends. I'm just trying to make a 10-year, like, in 10 minutes, basically. So I'm kind of like all over the place. But yeah, I was really in love with this guy. It was definitely my first love. I mean, Charmis might have been my first boyfriend, but I would definitely say Gabriel was my first love. And I know later on, people have told me, like my best friend, my mom, other friends told me, like, it wasn't love, it was, you were just obsessed with him. And I did believe that for a minute. I was like, yeah, maybe they're right. Maybe it was just an obsession. But the more years passed by and I got older, I'm like, no, it is. I am obsessed, and I'll admit that. But I am also deeply in love. I love him, you know. And yeah, soon he went to the Navy. I didn't go. And then he ended up meeting someone, and some girl. I don't know who. I didn't know where she came from. Like, we always kept each other like, oh, I met someone. It was just kind of like, oh, I met this girl, and yeah, we're engaged. And I was like, wow, okay, that was fast. Where did she come from? You know, and I was really jealous, of course, but at the same time happy because he was happy. And then all of a sudden he was like, okay, we're getting married now. And I'm like, and that, I feel like that broke me. And, you know, I didn't know what to expect. It was a lot. Because I felt like at that moment our lives were going to completely change, you know. And they did. It slowly started changing. I started talking to less and less of him, and I, you know, would go in and out of each other's lives. And then he started he's, you know, expecting his first kid, and, you know, a lot changed. But yeah, he was my anchor because, you know, he went to the Navy. But for me, he was my anchor because he held me down. He was my balance. You know, he kept me from, when I was going through so much with coming out, being gay to my family. He was the only one that looked at me like, I don't see anything different. You know, you're still Anthony, you're still my friend. And it's like, you know how an anchor keeps the ship down from drifting away. It's like, that's what he did. He kept me from losing myself, you know, and that's why he's my anchor. And So I'm sorry, I'm trying to see how many minutes I have on here. Okay. So yeah, so we hold on, it's like blurry now. Alright, cool. um yeah, so it was weird because I would lose when not weird. So I would lose contact with him. I would delete his number, delete him, tell him I'm gonna stop talking to him. He'd get upset, and he's like, "All right, whatever. It's whatever. I know you're gonna talk to me again, so I don't care." And then I would stop talking to him for a couple months, and then I would get a hold of his family to get a hold of him. And after a while, he just kind of like just got. He already knew who it was. I would text him from a number that he doesn't have, because I would have a new number or something. And I'd be like, "Hey, Gabe, what's up?" And he already knew it was me. He was just like, "What's up, Anthony?" And I'm just like, "How'd you know?" He's like, "You always find a way to find me." And it was just, we had this weird, funny, just interesting, crazy relationship, honestly. And everything I'm saying is true. I'm not making anything up. I'm not delusional anymore. I'm grown up. I'm seeing what it was for what it is now, the reality of the whole situation. And yeah, so what ended up happening was, I think it was like 23. Yeah, it was 23. So 2013. This was the last conversation I had with him. I called him, and actually before this happened, his wife had reached out to me and asked me to stop trying to reach out to him because she felt like if I was harassing her family, and I really wasn't intentionally like doing that. I didn't mean it to come out that way, and I can understand why she felt that way, and so I did respect that, and I did, and that was the reason why I had wanted to reach out to Gabe one last time, and I reached out to him, and I called him, or I think I texted him. I'm not sure. I think I called him. I can't. It was that moment was so blurry. Like to this day, I can't think. I mean, I wasn't drunk or anything. It was just really a big turning point in my life, I called him and I said, "Hey, Gabe, I'm gonna have to leave you alone. I feel like we're different people now." And he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "We've been different people," and he had this very different tone in his voice, and I think it had a lot to do with his wife and him talking or whatever about me. And he's like, "You need to leave me alone," and I was like, "You're right, and I have to let you go." And I was like, "But I'll always think about you. You'll always be a part of me in some way or another." And I was like, "I love you." And he's like, he goes, "I don't love you like that, and I'm never gonna love you like that." And I was being defensive. I was like, "Oh, is it because I'm gay? Is that why you don't like me?" Or I don't know what I was saying. He was just like, "No, it's, I'm not homophobic." He goes, "I have family that's gay. It's nothing to do with that. You're just making up some bullshit." And it's like a part of me was trying to say goodbye, and the other part of me, hold on, so look at the other part of me was fighting for him to like say like, "No, let's be friends still," because that's what he always did. But this time he didn't. He was just letting it go, and then he said something that just like basically like broke my like heart into pieces. I was just like, he said, "You know what, Anthony, I don't know what the fuck I have to tell you how to like let me go or leave me alone, but I'm at a point where I just want to tell you, why don't you just go fucking kill yourself?" Something like along those words. And after that, I don't remember. And that's what I don't remember, if he had texted that or if he had told me that on the phone. I don't remember that, because I really felt like my life was over at that moment. Like there was nothing to live for. It was like I felt like all of my heart and soul was invested in him, where I didn't even have a life of my own anymore, And I'm just trying to look at all right, I'm focusing on the way I look on the screen. So yeah, that fucking broke my heart into pieces. I felt like my soul just shattered, and after that I did something I never thought I would do in my life, which was give up on love. For me, love was like everything. Love was like what keeps my heart beating. I'm always a lover of love. I always believed in love. Even all the failed relationships I've been in, I continue to keep loving again and again and again. But that moment, I couldn't anymore, and I gave up on it. I started becoming reckless. I didn't care about anything. I was drinking and driving again. I'm not again, but I was drinking again. and I was driving recklessly, and I did drink and drive, and I lost myself. I didn't care about anything. I became rebel. I became reckless, and I remember it got to a point where I don't know if it was a month later after that happened. The worst thing happened. The worst thing happened in my. I don't want to say the worst because that makes me more worried that something more terrible or awful could happen, which I'm sure it could happen later on in my life. But I thought that giving up on love, I didn't realize giving up on love that I was also giving up on myself. I didn't know that because there was that one day where I had got into the worst, my first and worst car accident ever, and sadly I wasn't by myself. I had passengers with me, and yeah, it was one of the worst days of my life, and I definitely want to record the next video about what happened, because if it wasn't for that, then if it wasn't for that happening, I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm not making sense. I'm just like having flashbacks right now. But yeah, basically, me giving up on love led me to get into the worst accident I've ever been in my life. And that day still haunts me, you know, and it was very traumatic, and sometimes I do have nightmares about it. Oh, another thing too is when I did stop talking to Gabe that moment and I gave up on love, I started dreaming about Gabe a lot. He would like be in my dreams. I would see him. We would talk about anything that comes, like he was like that old Gabe I remember, that old best friend I have. And it's like to this day I dream about him, and it's nothing bad, it's nothing weird, and sometimes it's not even him, like it's not his face. You know how dreams are, like it wasn't his face, it's not his face, or sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not, and it's his voice, or it's his personality. I talk to him, and I talk about whatever's bothering me, whatever's stressing me. He was always like the friend that he was when I first met him, you know. And I don't know, it's like he lives in my dreams, you know. And yeah. I'm just thinking about the dreams that I've had, you know. Just checking the time, 27 minutes. Yeah, so the next video is gonna be about that accident and what happened, and who was with me in the car, and why I felt like it was the worst day of my life, and you know how it affected me. Just different things. It's a very important story, but I did want to talk about, you know, karma and Buddhism, and how that helped me get out of my depression, alcoholism, and also talk about, you know, Gabe. And you know, obviously Gabe will always be a part of my life, you know, because he made a very big impact in my life, you know. And if I never see him again, then I don't. If I never talk, I would never reach out to him again. Now I feel like we're different people now. We moved on with our lives, but you know, he will always be a special part of me, you know, no matter. And I feel like that's why unfortunately I look for him and other people when I meet someone new. It's like, it's unfair because it's like I look for Gabe in that person, you know, and I don't mean that necessarily as I'm comparing him to someone I'm just met. It's like I'm looking for that bond that me and Gabe had, you know, that friendship, that love, that person that was always there for me no matter what, you know. He was always there for me when I needed him the most, and I've never had that again after him, and I feel like that's what I do, not purposely. Yeah, so we're at the end of the video. If you want to follow any of my social media, it'll be on the description. My Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram is on there, so feel free to follow me. My next video will be out soon, the JLo one. So sorry, I keep doing that, just try to look at the time. So yeah, always remember, learn to love yourself. That's what this whole channel is about. Amate, which means love yourself. And I will see you guys next time. So take care. Bye.